A biker slapped a 76-year-old veteran in a diner. 11 minutes later, his son arrived with the army, the sharp crack of flesh. Striking flesh echoed through the diner, every head turned toward the corner booth, where a burly biker in a black leather jacket stood over a frail, silver-haired man in a worn military cap. The old man's face was still turned from the force of the slap, his coffee cup trembling in his wrinkled hands. No one moved, no one spoke. Then the biker leaned, in his breath reeking of whiskey. That's what happens when you disrespect the Reaper's old man. The veteran didn't flinch. He just slowly turned back, his steel blue eyes burning with something far deeper than pain, something dangerous. 11 minutes later, the ground outside the diner would shake, engines would roar, men in uniform would flood the parking lot. But right now, no one in the diner had any idea what was coming. Frank Carter had survived 3 tours in Vietnam. He'd buried friends, carried shrapnel in his leg for 50 years, and spent his retirement quietly drinking coffee at this same diner. Every morning today was supposed to be like any other day. Then the biker walked in. He'd swaggered in like he owned the place, laughing too loud, shoving a waitress aside. Frank had only said one thing: show some respect. That was all it took. Now his cheek burned, his pride stung worse than the pain, but worse than that, the look on the young waitress's face. Terrified, helpless. Frank wasn't just a veteran, he was a father, and his son, well, that was a problem. The biker wasn't ready for the biker. Patch grabbed Frank's collar. You got something else to say? Gramps. Frank didn't answer. Instead, his gnarled fingers tightened around the diner's old rotary phone. One call, that's all it would take. Patch laughed as Frank dialed. Who are you calling, old man? The nursing home. Frank ignored him. When the line connected, he only said 2 words. Son, now? Then he hung up. Patch sneered, shoving him back into the booth. He pulled a knife. The waitress gasped. Frank just folded his hands on the table and waited. 11 minutes later, the first Humvee screeched into the parking lot. Then another, then another. The biker froze as boots pounded the pavement outside. The door burst open, and in walked Captain Daniel Carter, Frank's son, flanked by 6 armed soldiers. The diner fell dead silent. Daniel's eyes locked onto Patch. You hit a decorated veteran, he said, voice low. Now you deal with me. Patch lunged with a knife. A soldier disarmed him in one brutal motion. Frank stood slowly, his gaze never leaving his son. He doesn't get to walk away. Daniel nodded. He won't. What happened next wasn't a fight. It was just as Patch was dragged outside, shoved into a waiting MP truck. He screamed threats until Daniel leaned in, his voice ice cold. You're lucky. The Army handles prisoners better than you handle veterans. Then the truck rolled away. Frank sipped his coffee, the diner buzzing. With stunned whispers, Daniel sat across from him, jaw tight. You okay, Pop? Frank smirked. Been through worse then, for the first time in years. He let his son help him up. Outside, the sun shone bright, and for the first time in a long time, Frank Carter didn't feel so old. If this story touched you, hit that like button and drop a karma in the comments below.